Hello everyone, how you doing today? I'm Stephen Gross and this is Steve G Fishing, and today I'm going to teach you tips on becoming a better shoreline fisherman. One of the most important things that I use when I go fishing on the shore is you want to get a good backpack. You want to get a good backpack. Get some of these small clamp-on hooks. I'll take this one off so you can see a little better. You can get these at any hardware store. They just clamp onto your bag. I usually carry about maybe 2 or 3 in case you want to clamp on something. But you want to get a good backpack if you're going to do shoreline fishing, and make sure that it has a lot of pockets. You want to make sure that the straps are going to be really comfortable. The next thing you're going to need is a small tackle box. I carry a small tackle box where I can put my lures in, or my bobbers, or my hooks in. You want to carry something small, that way it's lightweight and it's not a hassle to carry back and forth. The other thing you want to carry is you want to put some bug stuff in your bag, whether it's spray on or even a thermocell. Something that keeps the bugs away, gnats away. The bugs are going to be heavy in the morning, and if you're going to be fishing out there in the evening, the bugs are going to get you. You want to carry something that's going to keep the bugs away. That's important. The other thing you want to carry in your backpack is you want to carry a bottle of water. Bottle of water is really important because when you're fishing out there in that hot sun, you are going to get dehydrated, and you want to make sure you got plenty of water so you don't get heat stroke. Another thing that is important is you want to have a good neck scarf. I carry these with me. They're real light, they don't weigh anything, and I put this on my head, and that protects my neck so it doesn't get sunburned. A neck scarf is really good when you're fishing out there in that heat, especially when those temperatures are up in the 90s. And right now they're getting up there in the 90s. We're in that summer month. So make sure you wear some protection to keep the hot sun off your neck. You don't want to get sun cancer, and that sun cancer can be pretty bad. The other thing I put in my backpack, I don't know if you ever do this, but I put a garbage bag in my backpack. People ask me, why do you put a garbage bag in your backpack? Because if you take your garbage bag, and I turn it upside down, and in the corners of the trash bag, I'll put my arms through, and I'll put my head through the middle of it, and you have a homemade raincoat. The nice thing about the trash bag, it's really light, doesn't weigh anything, and it's going to keep the rain off of you. That's very important because in those summer months when you're out there fishing, you might run into a rainstorm by accident, and you want to be prepared. So carry a small raincoat or put your trash bag in your backpack. That is important. The next thing you want to do is you want to get a small Ziploc bag. The reason why you want a small Ziploc bag is that way you can put your cell phone in there or your car keys. I always put my cell phone in a Ziploc bag. That way if you're wading in the water and you fall in by accident, the Ziploc bag is going to protect your cell phone. The other thing is if it's raining, rain's pouring down, you want to keep your cell phone dry. That's very, very important. Always carry a Ziploc bag in your backpack. The other thing I carry in my backpack, and it's very important, and you're going to need it, is I carry one of these measuring tapes. The people in the clothing store use it all the time. It's real light. If you want to keep it you can do the long ways. But what I usually do is I'll take it from where it starts at 1, and I'll take it all the way to, we'll say 60, and I'll take a pair of scissors and cut it. I'm never going to need any more than that. I don't get anything that big, but I always keep it 0 to 60, and I keep that in the backpack. You want to make sure it's the cloth ones. That way, if it ever gets wet or gets something on there, it's not going to ruin it. The other thing, it's very important that it's light. When you are shoreline fishing, you want to make sure everything that goes into your backpack is as light as possible, because when you're toting it, whether you're going a 1/4 mile or a 1/10 of a mile, that backpack will start getting heavy after a long period of time. The other thing you want to carry in your backpack that's really important is you want to carry a pair of gloves. It doesn't matter what kind of gloves are, but you want to get a pair of gloves. What I go down to the hardware store and I buy the cheapest pair of gloves. Nothing really fancy. I'll spend maybe $5 on a pair of gloves, and then what I do is I take the scissors and I cut the fingers off. And then when you put the glove on, it's nice, it's comfortable. You can get these at the hardware store. I get them with the rubber on the inside of the palm. That way, when I'm holding the reel and rod, it won't slip out of your hand. That's an important thing. But I just cut the fingers off so I can still feel the line. But the reason for the gloves is when you're out there in that hot sun, you want to protect your hands from any sun cancer, because that sun will beat on your hands. And if you do good in the sun, you probably don't need these. But I'm fair skinned, and I wear the gloves to protect my skin so I don't get the sun cancer, because the sun cancer can be really bad. But the other thing is it keeps the bugs off my hands. But if you get a pair of gloves, try to find them where they have the rubber in it. You can get them in any gardening supplies. They usually run from anywhere between $2 to $5. But you want to have a pair of gloves. That's important. The other thing you want to carry in your backpack is really important, is you want to get some toilet paper. Get you a small roll. It doesn't have to be a big roll. And you want to put it in a Ziploc bag. That way, if you might have an accident, you might not be able to get to the bathroom in time. If you're out there bass fishing and you're out there wading or walking the shoreline, you're out there in the woods, sometimes you got to go to the bathroom and you're not going to get to the bathroom in time. I always carry a roll of toilet paper. Make sure you put the toilet paper in a Ziploc bag. That way, if anything happens, it'll stay dry. But the most important thing is, if you have to use the bathroom, carry a small amount of toilet paper. The other thing you want to carry is important, is you want to get a small flashlight. I like the headband flashlights where I can just put it on my head. That way, if I get caught out there after dark, I can run the flashlight to see wherever I'm going. My hands are free. I got my backpack on my back. I got my fishing pole in my hand, and I got the headlamp up here so I can walk around freely. If you're going out there in the morning in the dark, this comes in handy because your hands are free. You got your room to carry your rod and reel and your backpack on your shoulder. You have a headlamp so you have your hands free. That's a very important item if you're going to go shoreline fishing. The other thing is really important And I see some people do it. I do it. And what I do is I go to the store and I get a really long stringer. You don't have to have a real long stringer. Some people like it at 6 foot. I get it 15 foot. I do, if I'm out there on the ocean, walking the shoreline saltwater, I want to be able to put my fish on the stringer that way and then tie it to a 5-gallon bucket, and it's out of the way, and the fish have plenty of room to move around. If you're freshwater fishing, you could probably get away with a 6 foot stringer, but I prefer to use the 15 foot stringer. That way I can tie it to a 5-gallon bucket or tie it to a tree, and the fish has plenty of room to run around. So always remember your stringer and make sure it's long enough to where the fish is still going to stay in the water. The other thing you want to carry in your backpack is really important, is you want to carry a bottle of suntan lotion. You're going to be out there on that water for a long time. That sun's going to be glaring off the water, and believe it or not, you might go fishing without it. At the end of the day, your face is going to be completely red because of that sun glaring off the water. Very important to have your suntan lotion. The other thing you're going to need that's going to be really important is you want to get a good size hat. I have this hat. It's really good for the hot sun. It keeps the sun off my head. As you can see, it's nice and big. It protects my neck. It protects my ears. You can wear that if you like. Or if you don't want to wear something big and bulky like that, I got a smaller hat. And I'll wear this one. You've seen me in my videos, but I wear that and it still protects my ears and it protects my neck. When you're out there in that hot sun, you want to make sure you got some head protection, because I'm telling you, you're going to be getting hot out there. The other thing you can do is, if it's really hot, you can get you a small tennis sweatband or tie a scarf around your forehead. Sometimes when I'm out there fishing on the shore and I'm walking it, I'll put a small headband over my forehead to keep the sweat off me, and I wear a hat. I don't have any hair, so I mean, if you have hair, you got protection. I don't have any protection up there. I wear a hat. I want to keep as cool as possible when I'm out there in that hot sun, especially when those temperatures are getting in the 90s. You want to keep your body cool, because if you start getting too hot, heat stroke will settle in, and then you might end up passing out. So take all the advantages you can get, protect yourself from the hot sun, and try to shade yourself as much as possible. When you're walking the shorelines out there on some of those beaches, you don't have trees like you do when you're bass fishing, and you want to keep your body shaded as much as possible. Now, the other thing is, you want to make sure you have a good pair of sunglasses. You're going to need these. These are very, very important. You'll be out there on that water and that sun's going to glare, and you want to have your sunglasses on you to protect your eyes. Now, what I do is, some of the sunglasses don't always have a rope on there. So what I do is I just stick a piece of string on there. I slide a piece of shrink tube over there, and I melt it on, and it holds my glasses just like that. And I can just put it over my head like this, and my hands are free. I can put it on with my hat. If I don't want to wear the sunglasses, I just pull it off and it hangs. It's a different kind of an idea. Like I said, I stuck a shrink tube on there, and I put a piece of string in there, and I put a knot in the string so it wouldn't slide, and I just heated up the shrink tube, and I put it on my sunglasses, and I can walk around and it'll hang there just fine, and it works out really well. You can do it with a shoestring, or you can do it with a regular piece of string, whatever you prefer. Now, the other thing I like to carry in my backpack and take with me is you want to get you a good pair of pliers. Make sure they're stainless steel. When you're in salt water, a little bit of salt gets on these pliers, they're going to start to rust. After your third or fourth trip, they're going to be so rusty you're not going to be able to open them and close them. The other thing you want to make sure you get is you want to get you a belt hanger. I have this where I just slides in there, and I have a cord that holds the pliers in place, and then I have a little clamp here that I can clamp in on my belt, so I can walk around with my backpack still on my back and while I'm fishing, and it keeps my pliers in place. The other thing is that you catch a fish, the cord there keeps your pliers in reach of your hand, and it's still attached to your belt. So when you get done with your pliers, you just stick it back into your plier holder and you're set to go. This is a really good tool. I like it a lot. Like I said, it hangs, and I'm able to get to my pliers if I forget to put them in. This is a real big lifesaver. Make sure you have that. The other thing you want to carry with you in your backpack is you might want to get you a clamp. They have these clamps that you can put on the fish's mouth. Some of these toothy critters have a lot of teeth, and you don't want to get clamped. So what I do is if you want to pick up your fish and get a picture and you don't want to keep it, I do something that's a little bit simpler. What I do is I run the stringer, and I'll put it right through the gill, and I'll just hold it up like that. That way I can take a picture of the fish. If you don't want to do that, they have these clamps on the market. It looks like a pair of pliers, and it clamps on the inside of the mouth where you can hold your fish up. It's either or, whether you want to do that or not. But I use that whenever I deal with the toothy critters. If I want to hold up the fish and take a picture, I'll use this. It works really well. Now, the other thing is you want to do is I got a small Tupperware container. I like these small Tupperware containers that have the locks that clamp down. Works really well. I put in there, I'll carry a pair of tweezers. You never know when you want to cut your fishing line. You can get even a string and hang that on your neck. But a pair of nail clippers. A pair of nail clippers is really important, because you'll be out there fishing and you want to snip your line, and with these nail clippers that works out real well. The other thing you can do is you can put your fishing hooks in there, or maybe your change or whatever you have. It gets kind of bulky, and the nice thing about it is you just push it down on here and then clamp it, and it keeps everything dry. And the nice thing about it, it's a good space saver, and it works really good in the backpack. The other thing when you go backpack fishing on the shoreline is you want to carry a rag. Just carry any kind of rag that you can stick in your pocket. Go down to the hardware store or a cheap store and just get you a cheap rag, something that you can wipe the blood off or the fishy stuff off your hands. You want to carry that in your bag. That's really important. The other thing I use whenever I go shoreline fishing is I'll take a 5-gallon bucket, and I'll carry that everywhere I go. Let's say I get a big fish and I don't want the fish to get away, so I'll fill the bucket halfway up with water, and then I take my stringer and I'll tie it onto the handle so it weighs the bucket down, and I can tie the stringer, and I run that long stringer out, and I can drop that fish in the water, and I don't have to worry about that fish getting away. I don't have to look for a limb or a rock to tie to. I just tie it to the bucket. The other thing the 5-gallon bucket works out well for is if you get a big fish and you've walked a long distance, you can put your fish in that 5-gallon bucket. And what I do is, if it's a hot day, I'll take the rag that I have or a small towel and I'll wet it. And then after I get it nice and drenched with water, I'll take the rag and put it over the top of the bucket. So when I'm toting the fish back and forth, the rag is going to keep that hot sun off that fish, and it's going to keep the fish from drying out. Those are the tips that I have for you. Get out there, catch some fish. Make sure that you carry as much sun protection as you can. It's very hot out there. And make sure you don't forget that water. You want to stay hydrated, not dehydrated. Well, that's all I have for you. Get out there, catch some fish. If you ever get a chance, take a kid fishing and enjoy those summer days. But remember, shade on your head, lightweight in the backpack, and as much water as you can, because it is hot out there and you want to stay good and shady, and you don't want to pass out in that hot sun. Well, good luck, and I hope you get some fish. I'm Stephen Gross, and this is Steve G Fishing, and these are the tips of the day. Thank you.